G'day everyone, how you going? Saxon here. Just in Zimbabwe at the Africa Centre at the moment, and I just wanted to have a quick talk about the effects of rest on grasslands in a brittle environment. So as we've covered before, a brittle environment is an environment wherein there is seasonal humidity throughout the year. So there's a portion of the year where there's no humidity, no rain, and there's a portion of the year where there is, usually the wet season and the dry season. Now, in these environments, we have to use the tools of grazing and animal impact in order to adequately maintain grasslands. Now, where I am at the moment has seemed to have been previously regenerated. However, it has been over-rested, whether that be through not enough cattle or not enough time to get around to it. Either which way, it seems to have been previously regenerated and now is going through some of the early stages of reverting back into a desert and reverting into a wooded species dominated grasslands, and then as it goes on it will desertify. But I was hoping to just have a quick bo peep and you can see what I'm seeing. So if we have a look, we can have a look at all the different species just here. Give you a broader view. So just in the middle of a sort of a shallow valley at the moment. I just want to have a quick look here. So let's have a look at the grasses. Now here's what seems to be one of the main grasses around here. I'm afraid I don't know its name, but you can see that all this material here is leftover oxidized material from the last growing season, and through this non-growing season hadn't been eaten, but I suspect it may have been a little bit older than that, because we are past the golden stage and we are where it hays off, and we are getting into a oxidative phase now. So that's when the biology is no longer breaking down the organic material and it is switched to a chemical process wherein the oxygen in the air binds with the carbon to create carbon dioxide and then goes straight back into the atmosphere. And you can see that seems to be quite common with a bunch of these grasses that are here. You know, I can just pull heaps and heaps and heaps of this stuff off it, and you can see it throughout all these different perennial grasses that are here. I can go straight down into here, just have a closer look at the base of the plant, and you can see that this is quite a large clump, but the effects of the oxidation smothering that plant are now apparent. You know, these roots are dying, there's no sunlight getting to the bottom here, they're struggling to put out these very thin, very fibrous leaves. It's not humming like it should be. Now what happens is when these grasses start to die, which they are right now, they're dying off, they're being smothered, is that the grassland will start to become forb dominated. Now a forb is a tap-rooted plant, so what we usually call colloquially as weeds. So they will start to come in more abundance, because they should be there anyway, but they start to become more abundant as bare ground becomes more and more apparent, because they are early successional plants. They are meant to heal the land, but they are also a symptom of the land going backwards in certain cases. So you can start to see it now. We'll have a look. I'm noticing these fellas coming up. And you can also see this one. Now this one's a rather interesting one. This is more of a xerophytic plant. So what that means is that this is a plant more adapted to drier environments. And why I say that is, you can see right up against the stem here, there's a bunch of little hairs on it, and same with the underside of this leaf, and a few little bits on the top here. Now when you see that on the plant, what that's doing is that it is shielding the plant from wind. Okay, now during the heavy winds that come through, they can actually sap the plant of its water. So by having that as an adaptation, you can reduce the amount of water that is actually sucked out of the plant. So that plant is gearing up, or is geared up, to be in a lot more drier environment. Now there's another one just here. You can see this one is another little bit of an adaptation here. So you see how this leaf is a little bit more silver than this green one just here? That's another adaptation. So silver leaves, hairy leaves, these are all xerophytic adaptations to low moisture environments. Now let's see what else we can find here. I did see some, here we go. This is another good indication of an early successional plant. So this is a legume. I don't know what it's called, but you can see by the fact that it has 3 leaves with 1 offset in the middle there that this is a legume. You can also see how green it is. Now legumes are great. They are nitrogen fixing plants, so they help with the nitrogen in the soil, and they help to support the life of everything around them, including these grasses. So really, this particular legume is adapted to be in a grassland with these grasses around it, but these grasses need to be properly managed. And so you can see the abundance of legume just here. So this is almost like nature saying, hey, we're trying to get things moving. Let's try to see if we can get these grasslands going. And so these fellas are coming through now, trying to help get this grassland functioning again. And you can hear under my feet the crunching sound of the oxidative material. You know, there's just a lot of it here. And ideally, this is what should be happening to it, being pushed onto the ground and making that contact with the soil surface so that there can be some breakdown of material. And what little bare ground is here at the moment needs to be covered with that, so we don't have more than necessary amounts of forbs coming up. Another little thing that happens when you rest environments, this happens in both brittle and non-brittle environments, when you rest beyond the point of recovery for grasses, you start to get wooded vegetation. So you start to get trees. Now I don't know what this one is. This actually might be a tree legume. I actually think it is. Judging by the leaves on it, this might be a big tree legume, like a pigeon pea or something like that. That's extraordinary. I haven't seen one of them before. If anyone can identify it, please put it down below. Now, we've got these ones here that are coming through, but these fellas are a little bit more established than the last ones. You know, he's been around for a while. He looks more like a shrub, but you can see more over here coming through, like this fella just over here. He's coming through as well. And so you've got all these thicker, woodier plants coming through. And so eventually, when rested long enough, they'll really start to dominate the landscape, and really the early parts of a forest start to occur. The only negative with that in a brittle environment is eventually that forest, without the aid of animals, will turn into a desert. It will just keep on desertifying and desertifying, and then you can see, like a lot of places around here where we have that higher canopy, but down below it's bare as, and it's capped, and there's nothing growing. So it's good to have forests, but you also need animals to help manage those forests. It's good to have grasslands, but you need animals to manage those grasslands. So I hope this was informative, and yeah, thanks guys.